I woke up this morning saying, all's well that ends well. And I don't know if that is because I was talking about Shakespeare yesterday. All's well that ends well is the title of one of Shakespeare's plays. And I realized that I was asking the back of my mind before I went to bed, I was asking the back of my mind to help me figure out what today's episode was going to be about. And I think remember I was talking about that yesterday, how we can save time by asking the back of our mind to give us a solution to something. And so I did, and voila. So today's episode is about how to evaluate how things went. Is all's well that ends well? Find out on Life's Potluck Buffet, only on YouTube. I'm John Paulus. Thanks for joining me today. The last card in the deck is now The Back of Your Mind Has a Full-Time Job, because that's what I drew yesterday to answer our question about how to do better time management. And I think that, it's already paying dividends in my world. I hope it is in yours as well. But if you haven't listened to that episode, listen to it. But also, I can give you a little summary right now. If you have a question that you need to have solved, ask the back of your mind to do the solving, and then forget about it. And believe me, the back of your mind will have an answer for you. Okay. So I am now going to do 3 casual shuffles. All right, 1, 2, 3. That's good. And then I'm going to do 1 regular shuffle. Okay, there we go. Now I look for the gaps. Ooh, whoa, there are a lot of them. Yeah, I've been shuffling in an interesting way recently. I'm trying to figure out what the tallest card is. I think it's this one right here. I guess sometimes I try to figure out what card is sticking out the most here. If there's no, gap. Wow, there are 2 cards that are very close to each other. Well, I guess I'll grab this one. This looks like maybe the highest one. Here we go. All right. So how to evaluate how things went. Oh, okay. It's card 41. Mentor as if you were the one being mentored. Now let me read you the card. Mentor as if you were the one being mentored, because you are too. There's no perfect mentor, no perfect mentee. There's only one litmus test for good mentoring, and that is that the mentoring is done with the care of both persons involved. All right. So this is a great answer, thank you, cards, for our question today, how to evaluate how things went. When you're evaluating this, especially if you're leading the evaluation, it's important to approach that evaluation with care. What does that mean? Well, I think that a lot of times when we're done with something and we're having a meeting about it, and I think this is what we're really talking about here. And do you often call that a post-mortem? I've seen that a lot and heard people use it. I try to avoid using it. Why? Because the language. Post-mortem is Latin for after death. So, and it's what we use for autopsy, right? The inspection of a body after a person has died. So the post-mortem idea already sets it up that there's been a kind of death. I know that it sounds like, well, that's being a little specific, but I really think language is the most important thing, because the way we talk about things reflects our attitudes towards things. And if we basically are looking at a project, a program, an event, initiative, anything, as a cadaver, then we're already saying that there's something over about this. And it may be the idea that, like, okay, this is done and dusted, as they say. I think they say that in the UK. I don't know that we say that in the US. Anyway, if we think that this is all done, then we've already kind of made the first misstep in evaluating it, because we're not thinking about what we're actually trying to evaluate here is not like the performance or what happened or, something went wrong or something went right. And remember, about 80% of the things that happen with a program, project, initiative, event, anything you do, have nothing to do with you or any member of your team. It has to do with just happenstance, circumstance, everything outside, external to you, nothing internal to you, your team, or anybody. So once you realize that, that's the first step we can take. And by approaching this with care, we are saying that we're going to look at it as something that is still living, still alive, in a good sense, and that we care about, and not something that is dead, that we're just kind of gonna bury and say, okay, that's over. I never want to talk about that event, project, initiative again. That says everything. That when you have that attitude, that says a lot about a lot. But if you go into it with the idea that this is something that has to be treated with care, then even when the project is done, you're going to still continue to treat the situation with care. And by looking backwards to this thing as like the actual real life of the project is gone now, what we're doing is we're evaluating something that is gone, that's past and no longer exists. We're evaluating performances that will never happen again and never be repeated again, because we can't do the same thing twice. It's an old philosophical fact. You never cross the same river twice. That's the old philosophical dictum from, 2003. Got to do math here. I don't know, 2,500 years ago, 2,600 years ago. I mean, goodness, long time ago. So we have that. And if you think of it as what we're evaluating here is the life of the project, the life of the event, the life of the whatever happened in the initiative, the program that we're evaluating, that life that's ongoing is the only thing that really counts. Yes, you can, for reporting purposes, think of something as done and report on it. But that's that autopsy thing. That's that post-mortem thing. But that's not how to do an evaluation with a team. Or if a report is evaluative, that's not the way to approach it. The way to approach it is to see the thing as still alive, and approaching that and everybody involved with it with care. So try to, when you're evaluating, think of how all's well that ends well, but what's good about it keeps on going. And that's what we want to find out, because that's what we want to bring out in our evaluation of it. I just know that all is going to end well for you today. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time on Life's Potluck Buffet.